Yeah, in this video, I'm going to discuss about the substitution reactions unimolecular and the substitution reactions. I've already discussed about the SN2 reactions, that is substitution nucleophilic bimolecular reactions. So let's discuss about this SN1, that is substitution nucleophilic unimolecular reaction in this video. For example, if you take the alkaline hydrolysis of tertiary butyl bromide, here results in the formation of tertiary butyl alcohol. So if you see the kinetics of this, it's different from that of SN2 reaction. So in this SN1 reaction, the rate of the reaction is totally dependent upon the concentration of this alkyl halide. We can know this by changing the concentration of tertiary butyl bromide in the reaction. If the concentration of this tertiary butyl bromide is double, the rate is doubled. And if the concentration of this alkali is changed, the rate is not changed, which means that the rate of the reaction is dependent only on the concentration of this alkyl halide and is independent of the concentration of this alkali. So, but in SN1, SN2 reaction, the rate is dependent both on the concentration of the alkyl halide and also the alkali. But here the rate is dependent only on the concentration of this alkyl halide. This is the difference, major difference in between SN1 and SN2 reaction. Now, let's see this with the help of the example. See, the rate is directly proportional only to the concentration of this alkyl halide. If you remove this proportionality constant, the K is introduced here, which is a proportionality constant. So rate is equal to K into the concentration of the tertiary butyl bromide. And the major thing is here, as the rate is dependent only on the concentration of tertiary butyl bromide, it says that the mechanism of SN1 is quite different from that of SN2 reaction. In the SN1 reaction, if you take if you see the mechanism, it says that it's a multi-step reaction. That means it is more than one step, and the rate of the reaction is dependent only on single step, which is called as a rate determining step or the rate limiting step of the reaction. But is an SN2 reaction, since it is a single step reaction, so uh, so there is no rate determining step, but here there is a single step. There is a one step which is the rate determining step of the reaction, and that is a slow step reaction. And this is multi-step, and this is a single step reaction, if you can observe here. And what does this SN1 mean is the substitution nucleophilic unimolecular. So this OH minus is replacing here the Br minus, so it is substitution reaction. Since the nucleophile is replacing another nucleophile, it's nucleophilic, and the rate of the reaction is dependent only on the concentration of alkyl halide, so it is unimolecular. So substitution nucleophilic unimolecular. So when you see the mechanism of this, so is independent of the concentration of OH minus and the multi-step reaction, and the slow step is the rate determining step of the reaction. And there are three steps which are involved in this mechanism. When we see the hydrolysis of this tertiary butyl bromide resulting in the formation of one tertiary butyl alcohol, let's see them step by step. The first step is the formation of this carbocation here, which is an intermediate. This is the first intermediate which is formed during the mechanism. This is a carbocation intermediate. So the Br minus leaves this, resulting in the formation of this carbocation. And this is an endothermic reaction because there's a bond breakage which is involved here. There is, therefore, this is and endothermic reaction, and this is the slow step reaction. So this is the rate determining step of the reaction. So the rate depends on the slow step of the reaction. And from this step, we can know that the rate of the reaction is totally dependent upon the concentration of this alkyl halide and is independent upon the concentration of the alkali or the attacking nucleophile. And the carbocation intermediate can be formed here, which can be isolated. But in SN2 reaction, it proceeds through a single step, and there is a transition state which is formed, and this cannot be isolated because the existence of this transition state is for only very little time, which is about 10 to the power of minus 12 seconds, which is very small. So this cannot be isolated here. But this carbocation can be isolated and so called as an intermediate. And let's go for the second step here. Now this carbocation here, the tertiary butyl carbocation, which is formed, reacts with water to produce this tertiary butyl oxonium ion. So this is another intermediate which is formed, we can see during the process of this SN1 reaction, during the mechanism, resulting in the formation of tertiary butyl oxonium ion. So this tertiary butyl carbocation reacts with water, resulting in the formation of an oxonium ion intermediate. And in the third step, the deprotonation will take place, that is, deprotonates the oxonium ion. This is the third step. There's a second molecule of water now reacts with this. Accepting this proton, deprotonation takes place, resulting in the formation of the product, that is the tertiary butyl alcohol. And the second and the third steps of this reaction are fast. So there are three steps which are involved in the mechanism. First step is a formation of a carbocation. Second step is a formation of an oxonium ion intermediate. And the third step is the deprotonation, resulting in the formation of the product. Yes. Now, let's see about this carbocation intermediate which is formed here, which can be isolated, and this is sp2. The carbon, if you see the hybridization, this is sp2 carbon, so the structure is trigonal planar structure. So the attacking nucleophile can attack either from front side or from the back side, resulting in the formation of two types of products here. So if you take an optically active alkyl halide as a starting product, we can clearly see this, the attacking, whether it is taking place from the front side or the back side. But in SN2 reaction, the attack is clearly happening from the back side because it's a transition state. Transition state is formed, single step reaction. The attack is taking place from that back side, resulting in the Walden inversion here. But here we can see that if the attack is taking place from the front side, it's a rotation in the configuration. If it is from the back side, it's inversion in the configuration, resulting in the formation of racemic mixture, which means that the inversion in the configuration and the retention in the configuration product is formed in 1:1 ratio. So let's see this with the help of an example here. When we take this optically active alkyl halide like S3-bromo-3-methylhexane, when the attack is happening here, the carbocation which is formed here now can be attacked either from this front side, resulting in the formation of the retention in the configuration. See this S and S here, S3-methyl-3-hexanol, or if the attack is taking from the back side, it's an inversion in the configuration. This is a retention in the configuration. This is R here. This is an inversion in the configuration, resulting in the formation of 3-methyl-3-hexanol R. R3-methyl-3-hexanol here. This OH is from the back side. This is in the front side. So SSR. This is a retention in the configuration. This is an inversion in the configuration. And these two are the mirror images of each other. These two. These are the enantiomers which are formed are the mirror images of each other, and the process is called as racemization, and this is formed in 1:1 ratio. So if you take optically active alkyl halide here as a starting product, the optical activity is nothing but the ability to rotate the plane polarized light. Depending upon the direction in which it rotates the plane polarized light, they're giving the names S and R here. So if the retention in the configuration is taking place, if the attack is happening from the front side and it is taking place from the back side, there is an inversion in the configuration resulting in the formation of mirror images, and the mixture is called as racemic mixture, and the process is called as racemization. Yeah, we can see here the racemic mixture, the process is called as racemization, formed in 1:1 ratio, which are the mirror images of each other. So let's see the differences in between these two SN1 and SN2 reactions, which is very important. For SN1 reaction, it takes place in tertiary alkyl halides because of this carbocation intermediate is formed, and here it takes place in primary alkyl halides, and this involves two steps and there's a single step reaction. And out of those two steps, the first step is the rate determining step of the reaction. Since here it's only a single step, so the rate is dependent on the concentration of both the alkali and the alkyl halide because it's a single step reaction. So the name SN2, 2 means bimolecular reaction here. It is unimolecular where the concentration is dependent only on the, the rate is dependent only on the concentration of the alkyl halide. This is a non-concerted reaction and this is a concerted reaction. This is a single step reaction. We can see more than one step here, and we can see the carbocation intermediate here. Here is a transition state which is formed, and here is racemic mixture because the carbocation intermediate which is formed here can be attacked either from the front side or the back side, resulting in the formation of racemic mixture, where 50% we can see the retention and 50% there is an inversion in configuration. Here is the Walden inversion which is taking place because the attack here to the transition state which is formed here. The transition state has 5 bonds here, which is very unstable and which cannot be isolated. So the attack is happening clearly from the back side because the transition state is involved here. Leaving group and the attacking is happening at the same time. So the attack should happen from the back side, resulting in the Walden inversion. And here the order of reactivity is tertiary is more reactive than secondary than primary alkyl halide. This is because the tertiary carbocation is more stable, so the tertiary alkyl halides is more reactive here. So it's totally dependent upon the stability of the carbocation. Since the tertiary carbocation is more stable than secondary, then primary tertiary alkyl halides are more reactive towards SN1 reaction. And the order of reactivity is here is opposite, just opposite. Primary is more reactive than secondary than tertiary. Here the rearrangement may take place because the carbocation intermediate is involved here. It's more than one step, so the rearrangement may take place here. There is no scope for rearrangement.